What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another preseason edition of Lobbing Scorchers. We have a very exciting show for you all here this evening. We are recording this from the new Sounder at Heart studio space in the International District. That's right. Sounder at Heart overlord Jeremiah Oshan has sprung for a studio space. We're going to have the whole setup in here. We're going to have the live stream operation. We're going to have the podcast operation. We're talking about getting projectors to be able to watch games from here. We're going to have kind of a more conventional office setup, computer monitors, all that good stuff. Very exciting news. We're thrilled to be debuting it. Our first show ever recorded from here, first of many. Noah, as the one who was able to browbeat J.O. into springing for this space, how are you feeling?
Feels good. It's beautiful in here. We are in one of the best neighborhoods in Seattle. Don't let them tell you differently. This is the best place for food in the entire city. This is the last vestige of anything like original Seattle. Like, this is OG Seattle through and through. It always has been. It always will be. So love being here. Neighbors are awesome. It's like a blank canvas. You can see all of our stuff chilling over here, all the stuff down here. You can't see it, but we have a view of Columbia Tower and Wajimaya, and we have a view of Smith Tower as well. So good skyline. And then literally right next door, right there, Lumen Field. Lumen Field.
Just a few blocks from Lumen Field. When you step outside, you can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, great location from that respect. We're going to be able to pop over here before games, after games. I'm excited. We were talking about hosting the national pundits here when they're in town for their games this year, and I think they're going to be mind blown. That how many teams have beats that have their own studio space like this?
We're just two guys.
Yeah,
we're just two guys who make fun of U.S. men's national team fans online for money. Like, I don't know. How did this happen?
Yeah, no, I mean, we are arguably undeserving, but it is very exciting. And I'm excited for when it's all tricked out and all set up. Like you said, it's kind of empty in here right now. But let's lay down this debut studio space pod, Noah. We got some stuff to get to. We got Sounders news. We got a Nuhu contract extension to get to. We got jersey sponsor discourse to get to. That broke today. Providence after 2027 off the jersey. So we're going to talk about who they're going to put on the jersey. Noah, you're going to Spain.
I am going to Spain.
Cover the team in Marbella. So we're gonna talk about that. Hopefully, we're going to be able to do some kind of boots on the ground, hands-on coverage with that. We'll be talking some Sounders preseason too. Who's got the most to prove was the thought exercise I figured we could do. And we're going to talk about Georgie Manungu a little bit. And then just a lot to get to from around MLS. There's been a ton of transfer movement. Some big names. I mean, Timo Werner is in MLS now. Matthias Bogus is back. A lot of stuff went down in the last couple of days. So we'll get to that at the end. General programming. No, we're trying something new with the format for this one. We are recording this. We're pre-recording this, but we're going to air it live on the Lobbing Scorchers YouTube, so you'll still get the chat vibe and everything. But we're in the spirit of bringing back the old school pod vibes. We're gonna pre-record this, premiere it on the YouTube, see how that goes. We're not married to it, but it's preseason. It's the time for experimentation.
Yeah.
This is the proving ground. And if you guys have thoughts and preferences on what formats you like best, go ahead, drop them in the comments. We'll take feedback into account if there's mass consensus on anything. But we're going to give this one a whirl and see how it goes. I think it has some potential. Before we get into it, shout out to our sponsors, Hacks and Ferments, Podium Menswear, and Full Pull Wines. And if you have not done so yet, sub to the YouTube. We're on the road to 3K. We're getting there. We're at 2.8 something, so just right around the corner. That's a coveted milestone for me. The IG and TikTok as well, of course, and a new platform to plug, everybody.
Platform unlocked.
New platform unlocked.
Old platform.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. But please follow the Lobbing Scorchers Facebook page. We've had one for a while that we didn't really use a lot, and then Noah started uploading stuff to it, and it actually was kind of cooking. I uploaded a few things to it, and I was like, this is actually kind of cooking. So we're going to start using it. We love our elderly audience. You know, if you look at our analytics, it's not the biggest demographic that listens to us, but 6% of Lobbing Scorchers listeners are apparently over the age of 65. So we'll be updating our Facebook accordingly.
We're trying to get to 7%. We're trying to get to 7% of our listeners.
Honestly, shout out to anyone 65 plus who listens to our show. That's
if you
awesome.
ever have questions about lingo, just drop them in the Facebook comments.
But drop them in the Facebook.
Respond.
We had a couple of Facebook commenters who are not fans of Lobbing Scorchers headline strategy, but you know, that's, I guess, to be expected. But we don't have very many followers on the Facebook yet. So if you still use Facebook, I don't really, but if you do, get on Facebook, type in Lobbing Scorchers, throw us a follow on there. Anything else to plug, Noah, or should we get into this Sounders coverage?
I guess 4 or IV, whatever Jeremiah wants to call it. Apparently I said it was IV before, and it's not. It's literally just 4 is the name of the magazine. So I got to be honest, I think my branding was better, Jeremiah, but you know, whatever you want. Right now is the last time to pre-order your issue, so it is going to be going up to $15, but I have seen it. I've seen it. I took photos for it. You're not going to want to miss it. That's all I'm going to say. You're not going to want to miss it. You can check it out, sounderheart.com. Find all of the information there, but it's cool. And I don't know, that's exciting. And also, I was going to say, we're also going to Spokane. We're planned our Spokane trip. And a secondary thing, if you're a Spokane business or you're out in Spokane and you have something cool to share about soccer in your community, reach out, lobbingscorchers@justoncemedia.com. In all the descriptions, we have our contact information. Reach out to us. We want to tell some cool stories while we're out there and make it a whole big event. And then on the business thing too, we're always looking for sponsors. Please hit our line if you want to sponsor Lobbing Scorchers. There's so many different opportunities. Links down in the description. And now that it's been 10 minutes of us shilling, I'm sure we can jump right into it.
Exciting times in the Sounder at Heart world. I mean, a studio space, a magazine. We got it going on. So, all right. Noah, Seattle Sounders. Let's talk about them.
Let's do it.
As of today, they're still in Portugal, right now? Or
they are now in Spain.
They're now in Spain. Okay, so they have departed Portugal. They did the beep testing in Portugal. Mm-hmm. Now they're off to Marbella.
Which no report on the beep test.
No report on the beep test.
That's
they're keeping that under wraps. Usually, well,
I'll get to the bottom of it. I promise.
When they used to do the beep test at Starfire, that was a bit like the guys who won it loved to talk about how they won it. It was a big thing. Like they care a lot who wins that.
Should I text Andrew Thomas right now and ask? Let's see.
Get on the scoop. See who won the beep test. But needless to say, the beep testing is done. Now they're in Marbella, where they're going to play 3 scrimmages, right? I believe is what's on the schedule.
Play 3
scrimmages. And we're going to hopefully, I mean, they're probably not going to show those games as we understand it, but we'll at least get to see the highlights and get some sort of an idea of how the team is looking, how the team is playing. So that's exciting. Noah is going to be in Marbella starting in a couple days. So we'll talk about our coverage plan for that. But let's get to the team news off the top, which is that Nuhu contract extension. He has re-signed with the Sounders on a multi-year extension, as first reported by Nico Moreno. Shout out Lobbing Scorchers kickoff. And this, I think, is I wouldn't say unexpected development, but like earlier this offseason, there was questions about Nuhu's potential future. He was going in, I think, to the last year of his contract, so that always creates some uncertainty if you haven't signed the extension. And Nico said that there had been some interest in Nuhu from around MLS and some clubs in France as well. So
Lyon specifically.
So there was potential for Nuhu to be leaving the club,
which is what Nico reported. It is what Nico reported on kickoff. He said one of the people who I think potentially could be moving on is Nuhu. He did have a lot of offers from other MLS clubs.
There were offers. Lyon. There was interest. There was offers. Nuhu weighed in on this at one point on the Lobbing Scorchers Instagram.
Famously.
His response was 27 cry laugh emojis in a row. So read into that what you will. But I mean, I was just happy that he gave his thoughts because it's reports about him. He should be able to weigh in. Yeah. But
from the source.
He is now signed to a multi-year extension. So I think anytime we have a player that gets signed to a contract extension, the thing to talk about is do we like the extension? Do we think it was a good decision, or would you have not signed the extension? I'll toss that to you to start. How do you feel about Nuhu extended multi-year extension?
I mean, it's not the wrong thing to do. I think that the Sounders are obviously making for me, I can't get emotional about this. I'm not like, let's go, Nuhu's back in town, but also at the same time, he's been a starter through and through. He probably is due for a little bit of a raise. He's been in the league. He's a known commodity, and clearly there are teams interested in him. So if you are extending him, it doesn't mean that you have to keep him that full length of that contract. It gives you an opportunity to know that he's going to be in your plans, kind of lock down that position. And if it's time to move on, you already know that there are potential offers out there, that's just business. This just feels more like a business move than wow, I'm so shocked that the starting left back to the Sounders is getting re-signed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess that's honestly, you're more pro the extension than I expected. That's roughly where I come down as well. Nuhu,
I mean, I can be more emotional, but
no. I don't want you to say what you actually think. Nuhu, but he did generate. He took a lot of criticism last year. Much of it self-inflicted because he got 3 red cards across all competitions, 2 of which were pretty insane. So I think when people were thinking about his future with the team, they were probably taking that into account. It frustrated people quite a lot last year. He got 2 insane red cards, and then there was also the incident in Club World Cup where he lost his composure, gave up the foul that led to a free kick that led to a goal. That might have cost them a result in that game. So there was a lot of criticism flying around, and people were not as kind of high on his future necessarily. But for me, when I look at it, let's talk about what the arguments against a Nouhou extension would be. I think one of them would be,
it's time to move on.
He's this loose cannon, right?
Yeah.
He loses his composure, and there were all these incidents last year where that happened, and it did hurt the team. These red cards were the Vancouver game, that was brutal. The Club World Cup incident that I mentioned, that was tough, and 3 red cards in 1 year. That's too many red cards.
I think
some people who would be anti the Nuhu extension would point to that, the composure issues and those instances as reasons why you wouldn't want to extend him. I look at that and I try to take into account what has been the patterns over his career more than the most recent season. And J.O. mentioned it in his article, but no, I'll ask you anyway, just to illustrate the point. Nuhu got 3 red cards last year, 2 in MLS play, 1 in Leagues Cup. Do you know, and I'm going to guess without looking it up, do you know how many red cards he had in his MLS career leading into last season?
Probably 3.
2. Answer's
Okay,
2.
yeah.
One of them was his rookie year in 2017, and then he literally didn't get one from 2018 to 2024. So when I look at it, it's not actually a player who has a pattern or history of getting a lot of red cards throughout his career. Last season, he got 3. He's gotten 4, I think, in the last 2 years. So that's not good, but I would feel more like that's something that should be taken into account when thinking about an extension. If that was something that I really felt like was a repetitive thing throughout his entire career, and you really couldn't trust him from that standpoint. I look at what happened last year, and it is the outlier relative to the rest of his career. So if we get into next year and these things are still issues, and he's getting ejected 3 times a season, then I think it'll be fair at that point to look at this extension and be like, all right, maybe you guys should have known that he's apparently reached a point in his career where he's going to crash out 3 or 4 times a year and get these red cards. I tend to think that was kind of a year where that randomly piled up all in 1 year than it is indicative of a larger pattern. So that's number one. The other argument against it.
I have a devil's advocate for that.
Sure.
So yes, he definitely up until that point had not gotten red cards, but increasingly he has become a bit of a character, a bit of a diva even. Last season, the Raul season, I guess it wasn't even last season.
Yeah,
but
so there was the Raul
season,
incident and there was the missed Uber. Those are
exactly.
other... Yeah.
So missed Uber situation,
It's not like that's big a deal.
That
it's not that
happens.
big
Like
a deal.
everyone misses.
I've missed a lot of Ubers.
Listen, everyone gets a little too drunk every once in a while and misses an Uber. Like, what are you gonna do? It happens, you know. The second one, though, where you effectively have no point to crash out. You're just like, oh, the best player on the team, or formerly the best player on the team's crashing out, so I'm also gonna crash out. And like, I didn't understand that. And I think there was just a bit of like antics around that to where people were questioning like, okay, this is all piling up. Is Nuhu getting too big for his britches? You know, like he's the captain of Cameroon, which is, I mean, dude, I would have a head about that if I was the captain of Cameroon. I'd
That's
be
a recent
talking my shit.
Development.
Sure, but like, you know what I mean? Like his career is definitely on an upward trajectory, but at the same time, with that upward trajectory, there has come more problems. And then his defense, like, while good, it also is still like a liability at times. So I think people may have looked at that and said, like, I don't really know about this guy.
So
anymore.
that was the second counter argument I was gonna get to, is that some people think that his defensive capabilities are overrated. That's where I just disagree with that. I think there were definitely situations last year where Nuhu was out of position. He was arguably the one at fault for a handful of goals, but to me, those got magnified because it was Nuhu more than it was things that he was doing at a higher rate than anyone else on the back line. If you go through, I think I said this when we were having this debate last week, but if you went through the film from last year of all the goals that they conceded, you would be able to find someone on the back line or in the midfield who was at fault on every single one of them. I can think of a lot of goals last year that were the CB's fault. I think Jackson and Ymar would probably even tell you that. I can think of some goals last year that were the right back's fault, not the left back's fault. I can think of a few goals last year where you could put it on the double pivot, like
Stephen Fry.
Like, yeah, the Nuhu. The fact that he was responsible for a handful of goals last year, I'm not really convinced that was true of him at a higher rate than any other defender. And I do think that, to me, the value that he does bring in as far as his 1v1 defending and being able to kind of cover ground and go up against these super athletic attackers that you have to go up against in MLS, I think he's shown pretty clearly that there's a lot of value to that. And I think the team has probably benefited more from that than other people or than some people give him credit for. And the other thing I wanted to say about that, just on the topic of like what we were talking about last week with when you're going up against a guy like the example I was using was Gabriel Peck, but you got to go up against, you got to go up against Son Heung-min and Denny Bwanga. Like, who do you want out there? Nuhu
Reed Baker
Whiting.
I
or
want Reed Baker
RBW.
Whiting.
Like, I mean, to me, it's pretty clear what the actual answer to that question is.
I was watching the final game of Champions Cup. Not Champions Cup, I'm sorry, of Leagues Cup. I was watching our vlog today because I was getting nostalgic. And I saw the videos of Reed in there, and I was just like, give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that.
Yeah,
Give me that. Give me that.
It's they're just different profiles of left back. I think if you have a matchup where it's more important to have defensive solidity, you would want Nuhu in there.
Whiting, yep.
And, I mean, do you really think that though? Do you, honest to God, in your heart, do you think that Reed Baker Whiting has the defensive ability to Nuhu? He legitimately has the ability to fully neutralize opposing attackers in a way that even if RBW ever hit his top upside as a player, that's not his selling point. His selling point is not I'm gonna shut down this area of the field. I'm gonna shut down this 1v1. It's like I'm gonna be solid on defense and I'm going to offer a lot more in attack. Like the 1v1 lockdown, shutdown defending isn't like his skill set profile, really.
Maybe not, but I still want him out there. I think he can do whatever he wants to do. I think if you give him enough minutes to develop in that position, because he's a winger right now. He's been developed as a winger. He's been played as a winger. That's what he's been good at. But then he gets slotted in at this left back position. Give him some time to figure it out.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think Nuhu getting extended precludes RBW from getting a lot. I think he's gonna play a lot this year, and we're gonna get to see how he develops. So this doesn't stop him from getting that opportunity. The other thing I did want to say is just on the point of Nuhu's defensive capabilities. The red card he got against Gabriel Peck last year does not disprove that. Okay. We got into that over this last week, but there is no way that you can tell me that. First of all, you and I both said it at the time. Okay, we both said it at the time. You said it too. That red card in particular was a pretty harsh call. Like, out of all the red cards that he got last year, that was one where it was not like a total loss of composure out of nowhere that got him
Didn't he
thrown
leave
out.
his feet?
He went in for a really hard slide tackle, and I think people were criticizing him because he did it. It was like with 2 minutes left to go in the game, and they were up multiple goals.
It was the 2-footed leaving his feet tackle, correct?
Yeah, but he barely made contact with the guy. Like, if you watched it live, you wouldn't have thought it was a red card, but it was one of those ones if you slow it down. But look, this is my point with that, which is that, like, the reason that happened is because he and Gabriel Peck had been going at it for 2 games in a row. Gabriel Peck had not done jack shit in any of those games. And yeah, they were up 2 goals, I think, late in the game. And first of all, it didn't cost them the game. I think that's an important point. Like, some people commented, like, how can you say a red card doesn't matter? Well, it literally didn't matter in terms of the result of the game. They still won the game. They still won the Sporting Kansas City game too.
So it doesn't matter.
But I'm just saying that, like, it didn't, from the standpoint of if it cost
bad,
them
you
the
can
result,
crash out. It's fine.
It didn't cost them the result in that particular game, so it didn't end up being like a big deal from that perspective. But also just mentality-wise, man, like, I really think, and I said this at the time, you can go back and check the tape. Mentality-wise, one of the great things about this team last year was that they were relentless. They were suffocating. They went hard from minute 1 to minute 90. Nuhu in that situation, he had been going at it with Gabriel Peck for 2 games straight, and Gabriel Peck was trying to make a run at him, and he was like, fuck that. I hate this guy. I'm going to go just as hard as I'm going to go in this 1v1 as I would any other 1v1. I'm not going to give this guy a blade of grass because I hate him and I don't respect him. I don't mind that mentality. I don't. Like, he got a red card for it in that situation, but as far as, like, the principle of playing hard even when it's late in the game and even when you're up a couple goals, I think, like, if you want your team to have the identity of a team that's relentless and suffocating, situations like that might be cost of doing business sometimes. Like, I hate the idea of letting up on Gabriel Peck in that situation just because it's late in the game and you're already beating him.
So you need to jump up with 2 feet and tackle him?
You go into a slide tackle the same way you would if you were defending it in a tie game. Like, I don't think that tackle was like that crazy. I think it was kind of unlucky that he got the ball way before Gabriel Peck was even, like, in the frame. He was just running and going so hard that he slid into him and clipped him barely with his cleat. But anyway, that's what that red card in particular,
and that's why we need to sign him to an extension.
That red card is not evidence of anything regarding his defensive capabilities. It's just not. Like, I don't buy that at all. That's my take on the Gabriel Peck red card. You got any other Nuhu takes?
No, I feel like we hit that last week. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to do the whole debate. Do that in the comments. All right, jersey sponsor discourse. Want to hit the jersey sponsor discourse? The news, Providence. Providence is no longer going to be the jersey sponsor on the Seattle Sounders kits following the conclusion of the 2027 season. As I understand it, their partnership is still going to continue. They're going to keep working with Providence. They're going to keep the naming rights on the training facility, but they are going to find a new front of jersey sponsor. I'll give my take on this first, because it's pretty short, this falls in the category of one of those things that a lot of people care a lot about that I personally don't care about as much. Who's on the jersey doesn't make as much of a difference in my life as some people's. But I will say, with Providence in particular, they are a whack company for a lot of reasons. If you want to, I think they're pretty well documented, but if you want to learn about those reasons for yourself, go to their Wikipedia and go to the controversies section. It's like 18 paragraphs long of all their controversies. So from that standpoint, they took a lot of criticism when Providence was announced as the sponsor. I think kind of deservedly and probably in a way that they should have expected. But I'm not like sad to see them go from the jersey from that perspective. And I think it also presents a fun opportunity to talk about who we would want instead of Providence. So that's kind of where I come down on it. What do you think just of, I guess, the switch? And then we can talk about candidates for the new sponsor.
I mean, I think that the biggest problem with Providence is that it doesn't align at all with any of the things that the club pretends to care about. It was a company that was famous for refusing to give equitable healthcare to trans people. It was a company that is just like in general, it's healthcare. Like it's not really an ethical business to make money off of, people's lives generally. And I think going from a sponsor like Zulily, which was just kind of this, like, I don't know why, like they're a Seattle company, but it's just a very benign and weird like sponsor. And then before that, coming from Xbox, those felt very aligned with like at least the Seattle ethos. Providence is just this massive healthcare chain that, is low-key evil. They're evil. I mean, like, they're evil. I don't know what else to say. You can look it up. They're terrible union busters, and they treat their nurses terribly. They underpay their workers, everything. And when the Sounders announced it, they then got the pushback and then just said nothing and continued the partnership and continued everything. And it just felt like kind of like how the front office does everything nowadays, which is ignore what anyone who's actually buying the product has to say. Look at what the numbers on the paper actually are and go with the thing that's on paper looks the best. And it's just like, it's annoying because you have the opportunity to at least be somewhat moral in the way that you operate. I think people in specifically the Sounders community care deeply about that. And that's what has made your brand impactful to a lot of people in this community. And so, I don't know, I guess it's more of a just going forward, maybe you should focus a little bit harder on what businesses you're going to partner with, because why the hell are the Portland Timbers outdoing the Sounders on ethics? When the Portland Timbers found out that DeBella, who is a sponsor or was their front of shirt sponsor, the CEO of DeBella had sexual assault allegations against him, they immediately severed the partnership and then got Tillamook on board, which is a 10 times better sponsor.
It's a sick sponsor.
And they did something moral. The Sounders didn't give a shit. They never talked about it. They never cared. They always said, that's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible. Well, now it's possible. 2027. If it's some bullshit, I'm expecting it to be some bullshit. So I don't know.
Well, so who would you like it to be? I mean, we've already got the discourse flowing online, but if you've got ideas or preferences on who you want, go ahead, drop them in the comments. A lot of people have said bring Xbox back. I don't think that's gonna happen, but those were the coolest. That's like the one time I've seen a sponsor on a jersey and I've like been like, that's notably cool. You know, with Xbox on the jersey. Like, I think everyone liked that. But so if they brought that back, that would probably get a lot of positive PR. But we were talking before we started recording, like PlayStation or Nintendo, they should slide in and make a play there, like kind of get one over on Xbox. Like it used to be you guys, now it's us. Do you have any thoughts? Do you care? Like,
I think it would be cool to have someone cool. What I don't want it to be, no crypto If they use fucking crypto, I'm gonna crash out. If I see another crypto, if it's Kalshi or Poly Market on the front of the jersey,
don't you want Freddie Montero to like
my
the
bad,
sponsor?
my bad.
Come on.
Yeah, no, Freddie Montero crypto AI company on the front of the jersey. No, none of that. No gambling.
Oh God, if there's like an NFT,
Dude, I'm telling you, any of that. No healthcare. No healthcare, no insurance.
Yeah, no healthcare, no insurance. I like that rule. No, no one likes those companies.
No one likes them.
No one likes them.
No one likes.
In fact, everyone hates them.
Yes,
everyone.
Famously,
just don't put them on there like that.
I think okay, cool, Alaska or Delta, fine, whatever.
It would be Delta.
I don't care. Yeah, Alaska's Portland now. And then you could do Delta, that would make sense because I
wouldn't hate it.
They are constantly fighting with Alaska for Seattle business. So that could be cool.
That's a good derby, Alaska versus Delta.
Yeah, exactly. You get the airplane derby. People have said Boeing, but like Loki, that would make people happy for military reasons. What else? I mean, someone said Costco. I kind of love Costco.
That would be sick.
Like Costco dollar glizzy
I
kit.
like Costco. That's a company that people like.
Everyone loves Costco. Who doesn't like Costco?
They should factor in whether people have a fundamental like of the company.
I just don't understand this. You are associating your soccer team. You are giving the goodwill of all of the people who follow and watch your team to a company. Would you not want to vet them? Would you not want them to be something that's like works within the space of the people that you're supposed to serve? I don't understand I don't get it.
I would also be okay with a lot of people really didn't like when Zulily was the sponsor.
It's gonna be fucking Starbucks
for whatever
oh God,
reason.
It's gonna be Starbucks.
But like, I didn't mind Zulily because it was at least like a local company, right? They started here.
I didn't care.
And they were selling something. They were selling baby clothes.
They were selling baby clothes.
Why were people anti-Zulily? What was?
I don't know. Ask Mark Kastner.
I honestly, I don't. There was red hot discourse around Zulily, and I remember thinking at the time, like, are we doing discourse this hot over the baby clothes company? But maybe people had their reasons. I don't know. I don't really remember. But like, what I'm saying is, I would be cool, I guess, with like another company like that. That's like a big company, but has Seattle roots, but that is not Starbucks. Something
it's gonna be Starbucks.
Something in like the tier of Zulily and Seattle Association of Zulily. I think I would sign off on that. I'd be okay with that.
Taco Time, hit my line immediately.
Taco Time would be fire. See, we're getting somewhere. We have.
I don't think
Taco
Time
ideas.
has like 40 million to drop on a
definitely
sponsor,
not.
But yeah,
but it would be a cool idea if they ever did do it.
Yeah, it would.
They should just sacrifice the money for the bit.
Yeah, for the bit. Honestly, people did ask if we were gonna submit a bid, and I'm not lying. I think that's a good video idea. Is us crafting a bid, putting in like a $20 bill, and finding Adrian and giving it to him. I think we could make that happen.
So would Lobbing Scorchers be the sponsor in this scenario, or Sounder at Heart?
I think Lobbing Scorchers on the front, Sounder at Heart on the sleeve.
Okay, fire.
Because they have a better I don't know. I think they I don't know. We both have good sleeve style.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll cook that up.
I feel like we actually had a surprisingly productive sponsor discourse right there. I really don't have like any thoughts on it past that. Like, again, it's one of those things that, I mean, as long as it's not something egregiously stupid or that people hate, I really don't care that much. The thing was with Providence, it fell under like kind of both those categories. So just don't do that, I guess, again, is my preference.
We'll see. It won't happen.
All right. Good jersey sponsor discourse. Let's keep it pushing. Noah, you're going to Spain. I figured we talk about that real quick. You leave on what day? Tuesday?
On Sunday.
Sunday. Oh, you're out in a couple days. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? You excited? What are you planning? Do you have any plans on what kind of content or coverage you're gonna do? Like what's going on?
Yeah, out in Spain, I think that
I'm jealous. By the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could have come out.
I could have, but
you could have, but
not.
no. I think the biggest thing that me and Jeremiah are going to do, we're going to sit down with Brian Schmetzer. He's going to do an interview for the magazine.
See, I didn't know this.
So we'll have a Q&A there. I'll probably be posted up doing a couple of photos here and there for that. Other than that, really just watching the games, reporting back to you guys on what's going on.
We need you on that. We need you on that every update.
Yeah.
Like we'll have to figure out some way to get real-time updates without the games actually being watched.
Yeah, we could do like a live tweeting scenario or something like that. But yeah, we'll do that. Hopefully some post-game lives from the stadium of me and Jeremiah. Me and Jeremiah will do a special report podcast kind of vibe from Marbella. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of schmoozing and talking to players and figuring out what's going to be going on this next season. I'm interested to see how these games run. They are playing a game the 31st, the day before I fly out, but 2 games I will be there for. And yeah, I don't know. It's a fun opportunity. We were potentially going to stream the games, but I'll tell you right now, Major League Soccer said, hell no, you're not doing that. You don't have any rights to do that. And we will literally come to your house and take you out if you try and stream a preseason match.
I could have anticipated that response, but
so that's
the aversion. Okay, it's like if they want to say that, okay, but then fucking stream them somewhere so we can watch them. Like the fact that we can't watch the games, man, every year, it's just like I don't know what we're doing. Like you're missing out on like at least I maybe with other markets it's different, but Seattle people would be hella tuning in to that. Everyone wants to see those games just to see how the team is looking.
It's fun to see them play against these international teams too that they're never gonna like.
Yeah,
you're not gonna actually see them play in like a real meaningful competition.
It's just disgusting that we're not gonna be able to watch these live. But
the Sounders are defeated this season. They have not won a game. They've lost. Every match that they've played this season.
Which is one, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, so hopefully they can improve upon that record. I try to be the guy who gets people to not crash out over preseason results, but that can be a fool's errand sometimes. I do think that's a good segue into our thought exercise for the night, Noah, which is I wanted to talk about this preseason and our expectations and stuff, but through the lens of what players do we think have the most to prove or the most to gain, I guess, during preseason? Who can kind of make their case and cement their roles as maybe bigger contributors than you would think, or just kind of, show that they're ready to take on the season and be big-time contributors to a trophy contending team this year? I think there are a few candidates that come to mind. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Sure. I think the number one for me is Hassani Dotson. I think that's the question.
See, I wouldn't have said
that's the question that I think a lot of people have is what is his role going to be? Is it going to be a true rotation player or is he going to be a starter? What is that going to look like? Where is he going to play? And so I think that's going to be interesting to see because he's coming from a club where he was, when he was healthy, a starting level caliber player. I don't know if that's going to be the case here, but I think it's interesting to see. I think if he can go out there and kick the ass of Obed or kick the ass of Christian, like, I don't know if that's going to happen, but he has an opportunity to find himself in a good role in this preseason. I don't know. I think that one could shock some people.
I think that's a good one. The first name that comes to mind for me is Georgie Nuhu, and we're going to talk about it, I think, in a bit here. We had the statistical analysis on Sounder at Heart, looking at kind of Georgie's profile and his underlying numbers, and I think that's sort of why he comes to mind, though, is that there's now, we looked at the Doyle cutback passes chart, and you didn't like that chart, but that's one of several things that I've seen of sort of underlying data that Georgie is putting up that is, according to the nerds, super impressive. And the nerd community seems to think that they're seeing like the warning signs that they usually see with small sample sizes, that if you give a player like this a bigger role, you're could be likely to see with the numbers we're seeing with Georgie. They're saying they could be like a big breakout, man. Like, puts up a kind of crooked stat line type ability. And also, if you looked at his defensive metrics, they actually weren't as bad as I thought. Like, he's a little further along. He's not incredible at it like Rothrock or like Jesus.
He does love to give up a penalty to lose the Open Cup game.
I think what it is there's a lot of individual instances where he's still like loses his focus for a second or makes a mistake, but on the whole, in terms of maybe his 1v1 defending or transition defending or whatever it is, I don't know. He's not like, he doesn't grade out as poorly as I would have thought based on some of the stuff we saw last year and how we talk about him. But either way, there's just a lot of these supposed analytics and underlying numbers that show that he could have a really big season if he gets a bigger role. So what I would want to see from him in preseason in that case, show it, prove that, like be that guy during preseason, make the coaches have no choice but to play you based on how you train and how you look in these preseason games, and show that the nerds are right. And once the season starts, like be ready to maximize whatever opportunity that gets you. So we'll see if he can actually make good on that. But I loved a lot of what we saw from Georgie last year. He's very exciting to watch. I think his ability to win his 1v1s is special. I think it's better than anyone on the team, save for maybe De La Vega. But I think he showed that much potential in that area of his game last year. So let's see it during preseason and go earn that role. I think he's a big one. Do you have any, or should we save the rest of the Georgie thoughts for the article?
Sure.
Or?
I mean, I think, or we could just dive into it
Let's
now.
just dive into it.
I think the biggest thing with Georgie too is like he is competing in the most competitive and crowded position on the field with someone who just signed a new contract in Paul Rothrock, with De La Vega, who will eventually be coming back. He kind of has a very narrow window to make a mark.
Ariola coming back in the fold. Like that position group is stacked.
It's like, I don't know. He will have an opportunity, but it's like, dude, the deck is definitely stacked against him. I want him to play. I want him to show what he's doing, but like realistically, like he is if he can make a mark and actually make his cut into this team with minutes or even somehow winning that starting role, I think that's going to say a lot more than any underlying stat can say, because you're literally fighting against some of the best wingers in the entire league.
Yeah. If you're good enough and you play well enough, like the opportunities will be there. And I really think, man, like when we look at the depth chart during preseason, sometimes we can look at it and be like, how is this guy going to get minutes? Like he's buried behind this guy, and this guy. Then once the season starts and everyone starts fucking getting injured and you have 15 games in 9 days, like the minutes will be there, whether it's in league play or in CCC. Like I think there's going to be opportunities for all of De La Vega, Ariola, and Georgie and Paul Rothrock to play. But I think Georgie's in a situation where if he shines in preseason and he looks good, he's someone I think who can expand his role more than anyone. Like we know Rothrock is going to play a lot. We know De La Vega is the A1 starter at that position when healthy. Paul Ariola, like he's going to have a big role on this team this year, one way or another. But let's see if Georgie can work his way into a bigger role in his own right. And that would be exciting, man, because like that, I mean, like you said, their depth at left mid right now is just stupid. Like De La Vega is not going to be coming back for the first month or two of the season. But once he's back, it's like, it's that truly is an embarrassment of riches. Noah, the other big name that I had here, and this is a big one. I think you could even put this guy above Georgie in some respects. Nicola Pedovich. This is the fabled U22. People have been talking about this spot for the last
This is the biggest signing in club history,
or 2 years. Yeah, exactly. Huge blockbuster signing. But no, I mean, we talk a lot about how these U22s are dart throws, but they're also big investments, and they're also investments that could potentially be very consequential to your roster and your fortunes on the season if you hit on them. And he has more pedigree than I would think for someone who played the bulk of their minutes for Crown Legacy FC last year. Like he gets called into the Serbian national team camps. He has a senior cap. Doyle had a column where he said that he was naming every player's breakout, like biggest breakout, or every team in the West's biggest breakout candidate, and he didn't pick Georgie. He picked Pedovich based on stuff he liked that he saw from when he was at Charlotte, and he said something to the effect of like, I kind of don't understand like how he fell out of the favor and out of the pecking order in Charlotte. And he said that it's his pick for the most likely player to have like an unexpected breakout season. So I want to see if he can make good on that. And also, we do so much Craig Weibel discourse. This player is going to be a very big, important data point in our assessment of Craig Weibel. Like, I think most people are writing it off because it's kind of seems like a Charlotte FC cast off, and he hasn't really broken through in MLS yet. But if it turns out that this pedigree is signs of a high level MLS player, then that's going to be a cook on the part of Craig Weibs in the front office. Likewise, if he doesn't do anything and can't get on the field and contributes absolutely nothing to the team this year, Craig Weibs will be ripe for some criticism for biffing a U22 spot where, like, even if they're dart throws, you should really be trying to maximize these like absolutely as best you can, because you can get a serious leg up if you do hit on these. So that's someone that I'm really watching closely, and we're gonna see like if he's worth a U22 investment, he should be a guy that we watch play and are like, okay, that guy should like be on the field like at some point, like whether it's in the league games or in more important games, if you're in Leagues Cup or whatever, like he should be a player, like a contributor for this team this year. And this preseason's his chance to show that.
No, I think that's a good shout. I mean, I'm thinking if there's one more, someone who I'm interested is Stu Hawkins too. Stu Hawks, man. I mean, I know that, or I guess even on that same note too, like the Ryan Taylor is that
Saylor.
correct? Ryan Saylor.
Robert Taylor, Ryan Saylor.
Got it. Same Miami guys, whatever. I think those second tier center backs, that could be an interesting shout, as Yeimar is obviously still such a stud, but he's getting older. That spot's eventually going to need to be filled. Jackson, I mean, he's young.
He can be the starting CB for the next 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'm cool with that. So I think that is interesting to see who might kind of arrive this season that could potentially take over that Yeimar spot in years to come.
Yeah, no, CB3 is a good shout. How about Paul Rothrock for a little bit of a different reason? Not that he has to like prove his value on the field to the team, but I think what he needs to prove is that the whole arc of his career has been the scrappy underdog who is just fighting like a dog to make it, and he's become this great player for pennies on the dollar, and he wanted to get paid. He got paid. I think now for him, this year's about showing like I'm not gonna lose that mentality just because I got paid. I'm still gonna play just as hard. I'm gonna go just as hard week in, week out, just like I used to, and not let the new contract affect that. I don't think I have no real like worry that the contract is going to affect him in that way. But when you get paid, you have to show it. This is his first year after getting paid. So that was one that came to mind from a little bit of a different reason. And then I also had the other Paul Arriola, kind of for similar reasons as you were talking about with Hassani Dotson. But Paul Arriola looked great to start last year. Unfortunately, got injured, and You were saying when you went out to Long Acres, he was looking spry. He was looking really good.
Yeah.
That was exciting to hear. But I think he's in a situation where coming off the injury, he's got to show that he's still that guy, and he can. I mean, I expect him to be a load carrying player for this team this year. Like I really do. I think he's going to end up being tasked with that, and it's going to be a question to see if he's up for it. And so, for him, the preseason it's about getting fit, but also showing that he's ready to be that guy coming off the injury.
Yeah.
That was all I had. You have,
Love it. No, that's it. That's all I got too.
Sick. Good thought exercise. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about with Georgie? I see this graphic in here, but I thought that was a link to the article.
It's just it's not a link to the article, but I think it was just we can
we did
skip
Georgie
that for
discourse.
now. Yeah.
So
there's time to talk about that later. Why don't we do a couple of these, then we'll save the rest for the bonus.
Okay, I like that.
Let's do this one and then save these for the bonus.
Ooh, okay, yeah, no.
No. You pick. But like that was my thought. Or we save that one for the just do one of them. You drive. I don't care.
All right, like let's hit a couple of these headlines from around MLS. I mainly know. Honestly, we can just do this as the last topic. I mainly just wanted to talk about Willie Zaha.
Oh yeah.
My guy.
I do want to hear about this.
My favorite player in MLS. I'll tell you guys about my day a couple days ago. A little peek into my day-to-day life. I was doing my day job on the MLS editorial desk, and
making 5 cents an hour.
Yeah, part of my role for that is we have these virtual press conference availabilities around the league, and we often put our writers on them to get the audio and write stories off of them. But sometimes if there's a high-profile player talking, they'll just have us sit in on it and record it, so we have the audio. And if they say anything that we can use for our content, we got the audio. So I signed on a couple days ago, and I got the assignment. Hey, can you listen to this Charlotte FC presser? Wilfried Zaha is talking, and I said, "Oh hell yeah, I'm signing on to that." Like, I already know how that can go from last year, so I was already excited for it. But dude, it was the best. It was his best work yet since coming to MLS, which is saying a lot because he had a lot of banger press conferences and interviews last year. He was absolutely cooking in peak midseason form. First of all, he rolled up like 45 minutes late.
That's tight.
Which I thought was kind of a sick move.
That's tight.
He rolled up 45 minutes late, and he was just ready to come out swinging right off rip. Someone was asking about one of the interviews he did, or something he was saying over the offseason, and he was like, "Oh, so you want to hear about my Snapchat story?" And the guy was like, "Yeah." And he goes on like a 15-minute soapbox that no one asked about how players take criticism for switching clubs, but they need to be able to maximize their earning potential, and fans don't understand, and all this stuff. And it was just like completely out of nowhere.
He needs a fucking podcast.
This is what I'm saying.
He needs a podcast.
And then my favorite part of it. So something I noticed is that the Charlotte FC reporters have started baiting him. And I noticed them doing it in this presser, and I realized, I was like, okay, they covered him all of last year, so they know how this goes. But literally, one of the questions he got was, Wilfried, there was a lot of talk last year about how you were given kind of unfair treatment by the referees. Do you have any thoughts on that? And then they were just like, cook, Willie. And some players don't like getting baited. But he was like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm ready to talk about that."
I got something to say.
Dude, he started going through like individual. He was like, "There was the Philly game where this guy put a stud in my calf. There was the Red Bulls game where this guy should have gotten a red card, and then all of a sudden I get a red card." And he literally just litigating random calls from last year, and then talking about how like he needs more protection from the refs, and the refs have it out for him. And it was just like out of left field. Like it's so fun to have a player who 98% of pro athlete interviews are just like, you got to go out there, give 110%, trust in God, trust in my mom, trust in the process, and trust in God. And that's like basically all they say. And then, you have like your Christian Roldans or your Stefan Fries, where it's like a lot of kind of cliche athlete speak, but they at least give semi-insightful answers, or they at least base what they're saying on what your question was,
Yeah.
which some guys don't do. So you get some guys that you get actual good quotes from that standpoint. But Willie Zaha, as much as any athlete I've ever seen, he does not give a shit about any of that. He literally
Zaha's
just
agent
says whatever
hit
he
my
wants
mind.
on the mic. You could tell from watching it, he looks forward to the press conferences. A lot of guys dread him. He was like hyped to be in front of the mic. He needs a podcast. This will be the agenda check for the week. He wants to pod so bad. But dude, he's like my age. He doesn't understand the tech. He's using Snapchat.
I'm telling
he's
you.
He's using Snapchat to pod.
Wilfried Zaha's agent, call me. I will make him the #1 soccer podcast in the US.
He wants to pod so bad. He just doesn't know how. He's trying to do it on Snapchat. And like really, he needs to be one of those. You know how like every NFL player's got a podcast? Like we need a Willie Zaha show, man.
I will fly to Charlotte once a week to make this happen.
He's my favorite player in MLS. Like interview wise, he's the best.
He is the best.
That was my Willie Zaha spiel. That's the Hacks and Ferments Blazing Hot Presser of the week, where we don't have it clipped, but I just strongly encourage. It's also like 25 minutes long. He was cooking. I strongly encourage everyone to search it up. Let's talk about this Galaxy trade to close it out. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Because I do want to get our thoughts out on this. Noah, the Galaxy had a devastating development when Ricky Puig had a setback with his ACL recovery. He's going to miss a second straight season. But they did do this year what they didn't last year and put him on the season ending injury list, thereby opening up his designated player spot. So they were set up better this year to handle the loss of Ricky Puig than they were last year. They literally have a DP spot now to replace him. Could have had one. Could have had one last year, but didn't, famously. Yeah. But now this year they were like, we're going to learn from that mistake. We're not going to do that this year. But then the question was, all right, so what DP are you going to go out and get? Let's talk about that first, because like, did you have any other assumption other than that it was going to be more of like a facilitator, creator type role, or did you think they were going to go after number 9?
I wasn't sure what they were going to go after because they are doing the Royce Bell Cow vibe, but I just wasn't sure where. I literally can't tell you any of the mental process that goes through one of the worst GMs in the entire league's head. Like
he's your favorite guy.
I couldn't tell you what's going through Will Kuntz's head at any point. So I honestly didn't know what they were going to do with that spot.
I was kind of the mind. Obviously, you're not going to get a like for like replacement for Ricky Puig.
No,
but losing Ricky Puig for another year, like that's your engine, that's your creative focal point. And I thought the direction that they were going to go was more of that skill set than what they ended up doing, which is they sent St. Louis City SC $2+ million for João Klauss, Brazilian number 9, who's been on St. Louis City SC for the last 3 years. He becomes the Galaxy's de facto Ricky Puig replacement DP. He is not like a number 10 or creative facilitator type player at all. He is a pure target striker.
He is like number 9. Slow, sits there and does nothing until he does something, kind of guy.
When they made this trade, I was like, Am I missing something? Because I don't think that João Klauss is like that good. The way I remember João Klauss's arc was he actually, the St. Louis City's first year when they had that magic carpet ride to winning the West, he was
famously fraudulent.
But he was genuinely playing well and producing for them and scoring like good goals to the point where I do remember thinking like, oh, it's like between Edward Lowen and this Klauss guy, like he's huge. He's just this big lumbering kind of guy, and he was scoring good goals. He was actually more effective like in transition than I expected for a big lumbering number 9. You know, not amazing, but like he had some nice runs. So I thought he looked pretty good, and he was scoring a bunch of goals. Then the next year he got injured and didn't really do much. He only had 5 goals. And then last year, he played the full year. He played over 2,000 minutes. He scored 10 goals, which is good, but not like incredible. And for one of the worst teams in the league. So
you know who had more
I just
goals?
am not really sure that this is the DP I would have got. Like, he's not that good. Like, am I missing something?
No, I don't understand it at all. It's stupid. You had the opportunity to sign anyone in the entire world for 1 year, and it was João Klauss.
Like, what did he do last?
Well, I don't understand it. Like, here's my problem with the whole thing, Ari. Will Kuntz is an idiot. He's an idiot. He's an idiot, and he ruined this beautiful Galaxy team that we both loved. The biggest thing about it to me is, like, if your whole brand is, I'm going to go out and I am going to push the roster limits to their limit. I am literally going to have to blow up my team after we win cup, but we would have won cup. I'm going to push to the absolute extreme, caution to the wind. Who cares? We'll figure it out when we get there. And then the next season, you're like, what if we sign João Klauss? Dude, you could sign anyone in the whole fucking world. You're the LA Galaxy and you chose to sign João Klauss. You couldn't get anyone else interesting. You couldn't do, like, I understand that maybe people want a multi-year deal. Sign him to a multi-year deal and figure it out when you get there. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Their whole strategy is mind-blowingly stupid.
Yeah, like, just going through it, trying to understand it. Like, I can see how they could get to a place where they feel like a number 9 is more prudent than trying to replace Ricky Puig, which you're not going to do I mean, it's kind of a bet of their own making because they're also super thin at number 9. They have like Christian Ramirez still, I think, and then they brought Nascimento back. But Nascimento, man, like, to me, he looks like an example of why U22 number 9s, like, they've had both ends of the spectrum with it. Like, they were the Joveljic team for sure, but Nascimento last year, he was one of those U22s that was really hit or miss. It took him a really long time to get going. He was much more the classic situation where he needed time to adapt, and there's no way, honestly, that they could have gone into this season with Nascimento as like their line leader every single week. Like, Nascimento, Christian Ramirez striker duo, that's tough. Like, you wouldn't be able to do that. So I can see positionally how you get there. But I like, at that point, like you said, like, you can go out and maybe they had a really hard time like finding someone who was willing to like take on that role just for 1 year. And João Klauss was willing to do that. But that's also like, you kind of did that to yourself. And then on top of that, now they're in a situation where literally, as best I can tell, the entire attack is built around, like you said, the Marco Reus Belcow vibe.
Yeah.
And Marco Reus actually was good last year. Once he heated up, and I watched him play more, I was like, okay, this guy's actually pretty nasty, and he's playing genuinely good ball for them, and he's producing. Like, he's getting a bunch of assists and stuff and dropping these sick dimes. So from that standpoint, maybe they're thinking of it like, all right, we're just going to have, like, it's going to be a Marco Reus year. But he's 48 years old.
Yeah.
And has a whole injury history in his career dating back before he even came to MLS. That was the whole thing when he was with Borussia Dortmund, right? Like, he was always injured, and he got injured when he was with the Galaxy last year. Looked awesome when he came back, but like, you're gonna, like, you have CONCACAF Champions Cup to compete in because you got the Mickey Mouse Leagues Cup third place bid, like, and then on top of your league season and Leagues Cup, like, Marco Reus is the plan. Like, what are they actually going to do when Marco Reus, like,
they're literally try and not spoon. That's what they're going to try and do. Because it's like their whole team. And then what doesn't make sense to me too is like, okay, so you're another year past Ricky Puig. You're another year past this. What does your roster look like? You're supposed to be building around Ricky Puig, who has been incredible when he's healthy. But like, you tried to rush him back to being healthy instead of, it's just roster mismanagement, Ari. It just pisses me off because they have the best player in Major League Soccer. I don't give a fuck about Messi. I don't care about Messi. I don't care what you say. Ricky Puig
He's that guy.
He's that guy. And you had your team built around him. You had one of the best teams that I've seen built around him when they won Cup.
We took a lot of heat for Galaxy glazing because we loved and appreciated how they played.
It was a beautifully built team, and I just don't understand how you go from that to now you're pussyfooting around and you're fucking signing João Klauss.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Sign Danny Musovski.
Or someone in that ilk. And yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
I don't understand because they could have had the empty DP spot, signed another U22, converted them to TAM at some point. What is it? What I don't.
We should be MLS GMs.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, I can't get over the Cooligans. The Cooligans.
That was legendary.
The Cooligans, Will Kuntz. If you haven't seen, go watch the Will Kuntz Cooligans interview where he basically asks to be fired.
Well, like you have to watch it with the full context of he gave that interview and then immediately went to Red Bull Arena where the Galaxy got blasted 7-0.
Yeah,
that's the best part about the Cooligans.
And they
interview.
hadn't won a game all season.
Is one of the most iconic MLS GM sequences I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I don't think it goes underappreciated. So shout out to the Cooligans boys because that was genuinely like one of
that was hilarious.
That
was hilarious. The fact that was when he was doing like the Man About Town press tour.
Yeah, he was doing the podcast
while they were
circuit.
like 0-12, and they were like, all right, I think the way to handle this is to have Will Kuntz do a media tour. We're going to get slammed on 7-0 by the Red Bulls. And then we're going to get back to L.A. Greg Vanney extension.
And Will Kuntz extension. Yeah. They both got extended.
That was fire. I forgot about that Galaxy sequence.
Listen, the league is better when the Galaxy are good. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see what happens. Like, maybe João Klauss turns out to be a better pickup this year than we think. And I do think that the Justin Hack signing and the Jacob Glesnes trade, those at least on paper address
the Hack thing
needs.
Is the best signing they made all season.
Yeah.
All off season.
No, like that's one of the best signings that any club made. He was in the top 2 to 3, if not the most coveted free agents, and they got him. And it was a very specific need for them as well. Their CBs last year were, what was that guy's name? Right? Zonka?
Zonka.
I'm gonna miss Zonka.
Bro.
Zonka
Bring him back. He was so funny. You knew when he was lining up. We knew when he was.
I was just gonna
lining
say,
up. We were like, that's at least a goal or two.
The second time Seattle played the Galaxy last year, when we saw the LA lineup drop and we saw Zonka in there, we were like, let's go. Let's go. That is what we needed. And then what Osaze did to him on that last goal was absolutely just bullying. That's about as bad as a CB can get clowned on. So I'm going to miss that guy. Jacob,
someone get us a Zonka jersey. I would wear that. Wait, we should cop LA Galaxy's Zonka jersey.
Get it for the studio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Justin Hack and Jacob Glesnes is a hell of a better CB combination than they had last year. We were talking about this on the bonus show last week, though. That is one of those things where I feel like I've seen a lot of situations where a team has a need on paper and they, address it by getting one guy, or in this case, 2 guys. But it's like if you're not 3 or 4 deep, you're one injury away from being in a really dicey situation again. And so it's just like the whole sequence of like, oh, we are short at center back. We'll go sign Justin Hack and that will fix it. It's not always a quick fix. It's like that. Oftentimes teams who are in that situation end up getting burned anyway because they're not 3 or 4 deep at the position. They're only 2
They should have signed a DP like center back. That would have been funny.
I don't get why.
Has there ever been a DP center back in the last 10 years?
Yeah. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. Teams have done that.
Because I feel like it's not a recent thing anymore in MLS. Like no one's signing.
You don't see it that much anymore. But I've been saying that, like, if I was, my philosophy for roster building, if I was building an MLS team, is the designated team. No, I would focus on. I would allocate one DP spot to either the best 6 I could find or the best center back I could find, and like build out from there instead of doing what I feel like some teams do, which is like, let's sign a number 10 and a number 9 and then build out from there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of a tangent. All right, that's all I had for for the show, unless you got anything else on your mind. All right. Well, let's call it right there. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this new format. Again, we're not married to this. We're just trying it out, seeing how it works. So if you do or don't like it, let us know. Give us your feedback. We'll try and take that into account if there's mass consensus. Follow on all platforms, rate 5 stars, write a review. Please sub to the YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Noah's going to Spain. We'll stay tuned for all the coverage, the preseason coverage that we're going to try and do from there. Nico and I will be back at it on kickoff on Monday. And yeah, that's all we got. Until next time, we out.
Peace.